Welcome back, everyone, to MorningLine on this Monday. I'm Nick Barris. This is Tim Takis, elder law attorney with his bow tie and everything, taking your calls at 737-7587. If you want to jump in, we've got some lines open. Again, we kind of laid out what elder law is about, but if you have a question about what happens after retirement, some calls on reverse mortgages, living wills, all that kind of stuff.
And if if you got a question about maybe you've got a parent that lives out of state, call in.
Do the laws, again, vary much from state to state when it comes to elder law?
They do somewhat, but the basics are kind of the same everywhere.
And are they governed by federal law? Are there federal laws also?
Of course, there's federal law, which is like Department of VA, Medicare, Social Security. There's state law, which is some Medicaid stuff and whatnot. Powers of attorney and estate planning is federal and state. So it's a lot of combined stuff.
All right. Let's get back to the lines. We'll go to, we have another Mary now on line 2. Hi, Mary.
Hello. Just what you're talking about. I have a brother that lives in Washington State. He's 85, never married or had children. He's in good health and travels all the time, and I can't convince him that he needs to make some kind of arrangements. And I just wondered, is there a book? Is there a brochure? I just need some guidance as how to explain to him that he needs to tell me what I'm supposed to do, because I took care of our parents' estate, and he's actually said there's nothing to it. He has no will. He has, about 2 years ago, he just out of the blue said, "Oh, I want to be cremated." Just to give you an example, he just thinks it's going to be taken care of, and I don't know how he changes the subject. I don't know whether he just don't want to talk about it, but...
Does he have any type of estate that would be left behind, like a house or a car?
He has a home. He's got a car. He's got a bank account. Like I say, he travels extensively. And
as far as you know, he has nothing in place if he were to die tomorrow? There's not a will or anything like that to kind of specify what he'd like done?
That's why I'm calling.
Zero. He hasn't even talked to you about it. Even if he hasn't written it down, he hasn't told you except that he'd like to be cremated.
That's all.
No spouse, no children?
I keep bringing it up, and I can tell... I don't know if it's because I'm the baby at 77.
He's still
he takes things for granted. He's never had to, answer to anybody.
So just a free spirit.
So I guess no spouse, no children. Is that right?
Nope.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah, and
what I wondered about is every city have an elder law lawyer? I just wondered if I had a name to tell him I will pay for it if he will just go.
There you go. Well, maybe
you can. Certainly she can.
Contact your office?
Contact my office.
We'll put the number up.
And then I know several elder law attorneys.
You have a network all over the country, people you know.
Yeah, I know a bunch of elder law attorneys in Washington State.
Do you really? Okay.
Yeah.
Just curiosity, and good for her looking out for her older brother. And he just sounds like a free spirit, and maybe it depresses him to talk about it. But if he were to die tomorrow, based on what we know, what would happen to his assets?
Well, they would go. Well, for one is, and that's, you asked me about are there differences in state law? How property passes when somebody dies is an issue of state law.
Okay.
Now, I can tell you what it is in Tennessee. It's probably pretty much the same in Washington State as elsewhere in the United States. But, so for instance, he's not married, which means, and he has no children, so it means that if he dies with no estate plan, then everything goes to his parents. Okay. First of all, it goes to your spouse, then it goes, we say, goes down, and then if it goes up, if there are parents, but there's probably no parents, and then it goes out to siblings.
Okay, so she would hear, and it sounds like she may have a sibling or two, but they'll have to know to contact her. I mean, he's out in Washington State, and let's just say he turns up dead from a heart attack in his bed, and I sure hope that doesn't happen anytime soon, and they discover him dead, and they're like, well, these are law enforcement or whoever else. I mean, they may not even know who his family is.
Yeah, and that's kind of like where, what I was thinking about is that, for Mary, at some point she has somewhat of a serious conversation with her brother, which, since we don't know her brother and she does, it's like, okay, what would work for him? Shame? Yeah. Would he feel, if she basically had a heart-to-heart with him and said, I'm not, all I want to do is that don't create a problem for me.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because
it's not about you, it's about me.
Right. I view his behavior as being selfish.
Right.
All right. My point is, I understand he doesn't want to talk about it and all this, but just don't leave a headache for those after you're gone.
Exactly.
And it should be real easy for him to take care of that. So he's being selfish.
Right. And maybe Mary needs to have a strategy or something, and she gets like a little sheet of paper and says, okay, give me names of your.
If that's all it is.
I want names and addresses. Name and address of your primary care physician. Yeah. I want a name and address of any who does your taxes.
Yeah, I want to know who your neighbors.
Yeah, who your neighbor's best friend. Does he go to church? What church does he go to? Somebody that she can call and say, what happened to my brother, or what do you know? Where does he bank? Does he keep his money? Does he have a brokerage account somewhere, and where is that? So if she has to start, because what would happen is he drops dead, then there's going to be a state that will be opened, probably a probate estate that opened in Washington State, and it's probably going to be her that's going to do it, and so then she's going to have to start searching around for that, and that just costs money.
Yeah. Yeah. And so
all she said. So she basically says, look, just give me information. If you don't do a plan, that's fine. Just give me information.
Well, I can say, Mary, stick around, because at the end of the program, we'll have his number up. Yeah. You can contact Tim's office, and he has a terrific network, or maybe he can even help you from this end with him.
Yeah.
So,
and she should say, don't pay. She shouldn't pay for it. She said she would pay for the lawyer, but that's his responsibility, and that's like being an adult.
As long as money's not an issue, I guess. But if it's important to enough, and she has the means, and
sure, she does.
I have a feeling this guy, if he travels a lot, has means. He just doesn't want to deal with it.
Right.
So it's not a money issue.
And like you said, is that just being an adult? That's just being a grown man.
Yeah, especially when you have someone reaching out, willing to work with you on this. That's the nice thing. Yeah. All right. Good luck with that, Mary, and you're a good sister. Let's go to Imogene. Hi, Imogene.
Hi.
Good morning.
I wanted to ask, if somebody has a power of attorney and then they have a will, when they die, does the power of attorney go away?
Yes.
Okay. So the will precedes the power of attorney.
Well, what happens is, what a power of attorney does, for those of the people who are watching, basically what you have, you're a living person, and you give the authority to make your authority to make decisions for you to somebody else.
Should you become incapacitated?
You share your decision making.
Okay.
And of course, when you die, there's no need for that anymore, because no one can make decisions for you then.
Okay.
Then it's just your estate that has to do it.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, and thank you.
You're welcome.
You betcha. All right. Yeah. So at that point, when you die, then the will takes over. There's no power of attorney individual that makes other decisions that could contradict the will.
Now, there is an exception.
Okay.
All right.
I hope Imogene's still listening.
No, hopefully she is.
She's watching.
Okay, she's watching. The exception that I know of is healthcare power of attorney.
Well, after you die, why?
Well, your healthcare agent has some right to control the disposition of your body.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so in the event that you have not made a plan for the disposition of your body, let's say you haven't purchased you haven't made arrangements or done a pre-need contract or whatever it is, then your healthcare agent has a right to go, okay, well, I have control over what happens. And when you think about that, that's sort of like, who does that benefit? Okay, here's a dead body, and we're going, okay, well, did he make funeral arrangements? No. Well, who's his power of attorney? Well, I am, or was. So who's going to make a decision to what we do for him? Well, that's the healthcare agent.
Okay. Okay.
And that's sort of the limited,
so that's the
limited role that someone has when someone dies. That, well, I was his healthcare agent, and this is what we're going to do with his body.
Gotcha. All right, that's the exception. We'll take a break. When we come back, again, those of you on hold, Rebecca, Wilma, and others, stay there. We've got another segment with Tim. We've got some lines open, so we'll have time for you as well if you want to join in the conversation. And as I said, stick around at the end of the show. We'll make sure we put Tim's phone number up for contact information. Many of you may want to follow up with him, because you only have so much time on the show.
Exactly.
So we'll take a break and be back with more right after this.